So, just when you thought, or at least it seemed, for Brexit to be slipping into some sort of a disaster pattern, when a boulder rolls down the hill, you can at least see of where it's going to go down the hill. However, in this case, what has literally happened is that the boulder has miraculously started rolling downhill, only to hit what can be called a comedic ramp, and has now shot way back up to the hill, crushed the original person who was pushed it down the hill, and then started rolling down the hill again with them comedically attached to the boulder. It's the best way to essentially describe this Brexit conundrum. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, it basically comes up to this. Since the 1st of January, there has been increased problems of trying to essentially send goods, produce, whatever, you name it, from the UK to Northern Ireland, and vice versa. And this has put the Northern Irish economy, Northern Ireland shops, producers, manufacturers under immense pressure because they can't do anything, literally. They don't know what to do. And it gets even worse because their big market is not only just the UK market to them, but the European market as well. So they've literally got it coming and going both ways on this. And the government was very, very aware of this problem had become more and more pronounced as time had gone on. And of course, as we come up to the 1st of April, where the full implementation was meant to go in, it became very obvious, especially, I think, to the government, that this was going to become a huge source of embarrassment. And as a result, what they have essentially decided to do, without consulting the EU or the Joint Partnership Council, they've unilaterally, by themselves, decided we're going to extend that 1st of April date to now the 1st of October. To which the EU's response has gone, hold on, you can't do that without consulting us, or at least even asking us to do that. So not only have we broken international law, because it is an international treaty that we signed, on this date we would do this, this has also now stopped the Brexit deal being ratified in the EU Parliament, which essentially means the Brexit deal that we had gone for almost a year of seeing whether we would or wouldn't sign, essentially now, because of doing that, has essentially been completely, potentially flushed down the pan. And from here, we don't know where we're going to go. We really don't know where we're going to go. But we do know that the EU is seeking legal action against us. And that is now within their right to do so. So the UK is now going to be brought before the European Court of Justice because it has broken rules, specifically in this area, in this case. Not a lot the UK can do. And if the UK decides to ignore the European Court or something like that, then that could even make things even worse and escalate things, because this could be taken then to the International Court. And if they decide to ignore that, then that could cause even bigger problems. So the big question is, which we are going to try and ask today in today's article, is what's behind all this? And I can tell you the exact answer. It's more than often seems to be David Frost, or as he's known now, Lord Frost. So before we jump into today's article, please do remember to hit that like and share button, and also down below there is a link to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And thank you to all those people that do support me that way. So this comes from the Yorkshire Bylines, and the title is Lord Frost Becoming a Stain on England's Bright Banners? So, on the 1st of March, Lord Frost took over Michael Gove's role as the minister leading the UK's post-Brexit strategy, and chair of both the Partnership Council and the Joint Committee. And within hours, he has broken the terms of the Northern Ireland Protocol agreed at the end of 2019, to which both sides reaffirmed their commitment just as recently as the 24th of February. Yesterday's bombshell announcement came in a written statement issued by Northern Ireland Minister Brendan Lewis, but appears to have Frost's trademark heavy hand all over it. It seems deliberately designed to stoke tensions with the EU. The statement said, "The current scheme for the temporary agri-food movements to Northern Ireland will continue until the 1st of October, unilaterally extending the 6 months and agreed 3 months grace period in which official controls of food products entering Northern Ireland are waived. This completely contradicts the UK's government's own unilateral declaration of the 17th of December, where it committed to having everything completed by 1st of April and agreed a 3-month period of grace which was not renewable. It has now declared that the grace period will not only be renewed but extended as well. Discussions to resolve these difficulties experienced by traders and retailers in Northern Ireland are continuing, but there was a recognition by both sides that an extension would be needed. The EU was expected to grant such an extension anyway, so it's hard to see what has been achieved by all this declaration beyond the creation of mistrust and ill feeling. The UK government and Lord Frost in particular seemed determined to trash Britain's reputation for fair dealing and being reliable international partners. The announcement was quickly followed by a condemnation from EU Vice President Markus Savonkic and expressing the EU's strong concerns over the UK's unilateral action, which he says pretty much amounts to a violation of relevant substance provisions of the Protocol on Ireland/Northern Ireland and in the good faith obligation under which the withdrawal agreement was signed. Solvak pointed out that this is the second time that the UK government has set to breach international law. Majid Rahman, the managing director of Europe at Eurasia Group and the former HM Treasury official, who also worked with the EU Commission, tweeted this: "Senior EU officials tell me that we're heading towards a very tumultuous period and Frost is not here to solve problems." The Irish Foreign Minister, Simon Covey, speaking on RTE, said the timing and the announcement could not be worse. This is why the EU is now looking at legal options and legal action, which means much more formalised and rigid negotiation processes as opposed to the process of partnership where you try and solve the problems together, he added. In a further indication of bad faith, it has now been revealed that Prime Minister Boris Johnson had spoken the previous day to the Irish Prime Minister Michael Martin about a joint Ireland-UK bid for the 2030 World Cup, but failed to mention he intended to breach the terms of the Northern Ireland Protocol just 24 hours later. We appear to be entering a new phase of the EU-UK relations, where Britain is in a state of constant crisis with its European neighbours. It comes as the EU Parliament continues to scrutinise the trade and cooperation agreement with a view to ratifying it by the 30th of April. This date was extended by agreement with the UK from the 28th of February, since the trade agreement is enforced provisionally. The UK Parliament could have used the extra time to carry out more detailed scrutiny itself, but had chosen not to. Negotiations with the EU are also continuing on the Memorandum of Understanding with regards to obtaining access to the European single market for Britain's $132 billion a year financial services industry. The EU is also considering a data adequacy agreement to allow crucial cross-border data flows between Britain and the EU member states to continue after the 30th of June this year. Brussels, it seems, still has a lot of diplomatic cards to play short of the legal action. And the path that the unelected Lord Frost has set the UK on seems needlessly provocative. It also seems to result in more antagonism and less cooperation, and to reinforce the perceptions in some European capitals of the UK as perfidious Albion of old. You know, this is absolutely ridiculous. And, you know, you'd have thought, I'd have thought we'd reached peak ridiculousness when we'd disallowed allowing the EU ambassador to have full diplomatic status. I thought that was the peak. But as they always say, never underestimate the stupidity of idiots. And here we have it. And it's shocking that this has happened, because it's very obvious that the EU, if it wanted to, could just play complete hardball and just go, okay, we're not ratifying the deal, we're not giving your financial services access to the single market, and we're not going to allow data equivalency beyond the 30th of June. These would absolutely destroy the economy of the UK. They have all the power here. And this isn't like a rare move. This isn't something that has happened because of Brexit. This was what we were always saying. The EU is a far larger trading partner, and it, fortunately in this case, gets to make the rules. And unfortunately, this seems to be the ridiculous path that we are now set upon. And unfortunately, as I've been saying, the government has this agenda this year to try and prove that Brexit was a success. Well, also we can now add to that not only does it want to try and prove that Brexit was some sort of unilateral success, but also try to continue the constant antagonism that it had of when it was in the EU, as to try and blame the EU for all its failings, when all the failings are because this government decided that it would decide to leave the European Union of its own will without really consulting anyone as to how it would actually leave it, let alone with an actual plan. And as a result, here we are yet again for more ridiculousness. And I'm sure this is only set to escalate, because I'm sure the legal process now will have to be in place. And here's the thing. The more and more we do this to the EU, the less likely they are going to trust us in future agreements. And as I've said before, way back when the whole internal market bill was a thing, way back when we were discussing about the withdrawal agreement and that being broken for international law and all that stuff was going on, the worse we do this, the less other countries are also not going to trust us as well. And here we are. It's absolutely shocking. It really is. But I have to say, I'm not surprised. I really shouldn't be by this point, but I am. So, as always, please do remember to hit that like and share button on your way out. And of course, down below there is a link to my Patreon page and a more donation link. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.